What's up, Brian Tong here, and I was gone for a week on vacation in Hawaii, and I took a whole lot of spatial videos with the iPhone 15 Pro, so I hope I get to see what they end up looking like, because right now they just look like regular videos on my iPhone. Now, in this week's Apple news, Apple's spring plans for the iPad and MacBook are revealed. iMessage comes to Android, and it actually works, and iOS 17.2 could arrive as early as next week with some new features that we just found out about. So let's start with the latest report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, who's really, to me, separated himself as one of the definitive sources for leaked Apple information now. And in his latest report, Gurman says Apple is planning to launch 2 new iPad Airs and 2 new OLED iPad Pro models early next year. Now, the iPad Air is expected to come in 2 sizes for the very first time, with a smaller model at the standard 10.9 inches, and then the new edition will be the larger 12.9 inch version that we have talked about here a few times. Now, this is really, to me, a classic Tim Cook, offer them at every screen size and hit every price point classic move that adds more variety to the lineup, and it's been successful for the iPhones, obviously. Now, Apple will also release the new iPad Pro lineup that will reportedly feature the long-rumored OLED display, and it's the first time that we've seen an OLED display this large on any Apple product. So you're going to get deeper blacks, more vivid color, better power efficiency, and the OLED displays will be exclusive to the Pros. Gurman also reports the high-end iPad Pro will feature the new M3 chip based on the new 3nm technology, and with that, obviously a boost in graphics performance like it did for the Mac. Now, the iPad mini and the entry-level iPad, those are also expected to be updated this year, but it's still not clear if it will happen at the same time as these new Airs and Pros. Now, we also know Apple's expected to announce a new Apple Pencil and a new Magic Keyboard for this generation. So not that kind of stripped-down one we saw, but an all-new one. The keyboards will reportedly have a sturdier aluminum frame, and when used with the iPad, it'll look more like a laptop, so a redesign, something slicker and sleeker, that could be cool. But the reality is that sales have suffered from the lack of new iPads in 2023, but I think it was a smart move to not just put out a mediocre update for a product that most people, let's be honest, how often do you refresh this after 3 to 5 years or even more? Now, Gurman expects that they will launch around the end of March, and at the same time, Apple could release iOS 17.4 and iPadOS 17.4. And you've got to imagine that this event would be separate from the Apple Vision Pro launch that is also set for early 2024, whatever that really means to Apple. So the focus would really just be on the Vision Pro for that event, but your guess is as good as mine right now. But that's not all. Mark Gurman also says that an updated 13-inch and 15-inch MacBook Airs are also in the works for a potential late March release. Now, the MacBook Air is where I tell everyone to start when they're looking for a new laptop. That's the base, like look there first and then look around. You can go up based on your needs, if it's screen size, more power, more storage. But the successful redesign with the 13-inch Air happened in 2022, and then you got the larger 15-inch that was introduced last year. But don't expect any major design changes, and they don't need to, but I would like to say some cool new colors would be fun. The Air is a little more consumer-based, a little more student-based. Like, could we revisit a dark purple like the iPhone 14 Pro? Or be bold, right? Just throw it out there. Give us a metallic matte red finish. Who wouldn't love that? But the more I think about it, like, let's be honest, the big bet should be on space black. Now, the big update will be the internals here, and it's a no-brainer that the next generation Airs will be updated with the M3 chip. It's a faster chip based on raw speed tests, but then, with my tests, when it came to real-world tests, at least for video exports, which is honestly the most relevant use case for my workflow, the difference was really only in seconds, so I still haven't upgraded to anything M3, but it will have significantly improved graphics performance with its next GPU that Apple has showcased. Gurman also says Apple is developing the new Macs alongside development of macOS 14.3, and the new MacBook Air could possibly start shipping around the March timeframe as well. So it's possible that an iPad and MacBook Air launch could happen at the same time, combine those together, and then Apple Vision Pro would get its own launch sometime in the first half of early 2024. And look, this is wild. That's just the start of the year, all right? Now let's talk about what's buzzing with some of the tech community right now, and that would have to be the Android app called Beeper Mini. Blue Bubbles and iMessage compatibility have finally come to Android with Beeper Mini. I've used it, and it's actually good, right? It's more than good, and I don't miss a beat when I'm using it on my Pixel 8 Pro. Wait, Brian uses other phones? Yes, I do. So look, what does Beeper Mini really do, and how does it actually work? Well, Hey everybody, this just in. It appears that Apple has indeed closed the loophole and put a stop to Beeper Mini's access to iMessage for Android, putting a stop to any blue bubbles on Android devices whatsoever. Beeper Mini quit working earlier today. Users were receiving a failed to look up on server error message, and Beeper CEO told TechCrunch that all their data suggests that Apple has in fact found a way to stop Beeper Mini from working. We kind of anticipated this would happen, but Beeper Mini, gone before we knew you. R.I.P. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, let's jump on to some iOS 17.2 news. Apple has seeded the release candidate versions of iOS 17.2, iPadOS 17.2 to developers along with the rest of the operating systems, which typically means that the public is going to get their hands on it next week. Now, I recently did a video on some of the new big features that we can expect, so you can check that out on the channel, and it is a significant upgrade when you go from a 17.1 to 17.2. You got the introduction of the new Journal app for journaling and tracking how you're feeling. You have spatial video recording for the Apple Vision Pro. It only works on the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max phones. Then you get the action button. It finally gets the translate option. Messages let you jump to the first unread message in a conversation. There's new weather widgets and other things, but there's also been some new features we haven't heard about until now that were just revealed. So iOS 17.2 will bring support for the next generation of Qi 2 wireless charging to the iPhone 13 and 14 models. We know that iPhone 15 models already support it. So that means the older 13 and 14 models will work with the new standard that incorporates a magnetic power profile for better alignment, basically MagSafe, but for the masses. Now, Qi 2 supports up to 15 watts wireless charging, but it's not clear if Apple is going to support that faster wireless charging speeds. Currently, if you look at Apple documentation for the iPhone 15 lineup, it says that its devices support up to 7.5 watts. The new Qi 2 standard, that goes up to 15 watts max. Now, come on, Apple. Just unlock the 15 watts already, like make it happen. It's really easy, and don't hold out, but then make it a new feature for the 16 lineup. I mean, see, even saying that out loud made me realize that that is something that they would do, but you know what? I'm gonna go in thinking positive, good thoughts instead, that they will do this out of the goodness of their heart. Now, the first Qi 2 charging accessories are expected to launch this year during the holidays. Also with iOS 17.2 and watchOS 10.2, they're finally bringing the promised ability for Siri to access and log your health data. Now, this is one of the new features promoted during the Series 9 and Ultra 2 product launch, where you can ask Apple Watch questions like, how much sleep did you get? Or how far are you to closing your rings? A lot of different health data. It still hasn't been implemented, but will be soon with these upcoming software updates. And it's been one of the reasons that I've waited to do my full review until the final form of the watch was ready. You got the double tap gesture for the Apple Watch that also came out after the announcement, along with name drop for sharing your contact info. They both went public at the end of October with the watch OS 10.1 release. So just look out for a more comprehensive review here in the future. But the new Apple Watch models will finally feel complete in the next week or so with these updates. And then I did talk about name drop briefly. Well, check this out. In iOS 17.2, a new name drop-esque like feature will allow you to quickly share boarding passes, movie tickets, and other wallet app passes with another phone user nearby. So you'll open up the wallet app, you just tap on the pass you want, you share, and then get your phone close to another, and a share button will let you send it over via AirDrop. Now, both phones need to be on iOS 17.2, but it's another way to share information in a faster, pretty cool way. Okay, now this next story, if this makes you feel old, it shouldn't, but if it does, then you are old in your mind. Apple's first iPhone SE is now vintage. Apple recently added the original iPhone SE to its obsolete products list. So that came out in March of 2016. So it has been 7 years since the SE launched, but its legacy still lives on because the current iPhone SE is still the only one left with a Touch ID button until they get rid of it. But being vintage means that Apple no longer guarantees that they can be repaired if the parts are not available. Now, Apple also made the second generation 12.9-inch iPad Pro vintage as well. So we just like pour a little liquor out for them. And since we're talking SE, a report from Mac Rumors claims that the upcoming iPhone SE 4 may end up using the battery that is currently in the iPhone 14. Now, according to them, partially assembled prototypes of the 4th Gen SE that is in development is using batteries with the same model number used in the 14, and internal documentation also confirms this to be true. And that's a good thing because it would bring a larger battery for longer battery performance. no shame in that. All rumor reports believe that the new iPhone SE will feature an iPhone 14 base design. Makes sense with this 14 based battery. It will also bring the action button and a USB-C port, and will have a Face ID camera on top, and will remove Touch ID. Now, it is still uncertain if it will be released anytime soon, so there's not an estimated timetable, but it is currently in development. And I know there's a lot of crossover between the Apple fanboys and the Tesla worshipers, so you're all gonna love this next one. The Apple Podcast app appears to be coming to Tesla as a standalone app. No CarPlay needed. I mean, you all wish there was CarPlay in it, but just an independent podcast app. Now, according to the new leak, in an upcoming software update, the Tesla Apple Podcast app will have proper playback controls. Apple Music came to Tesla a year ago, not podcasts, but the music app. And if you were hoping that CarPlay would come next, I don't expect that anytime soon. But now, if y'all listen to my weekly Apple Bits XL podcast, you're gonna be able to do it very soon in your Tesla. And if you haven't, hey, it's a great time to check it out. So for more of that Apple goodness, go check out the Apple Bits XL audio podcast with the latest stories and special guests. Plus, you can also support all my content with an ad-free version of the podcast, early access to my content, and exclusive content at patreon.com/Brian Tong. All right, that is going to do it for this video. If you like what you see, you know what to do. Give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my latest videos when they drop. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace and love.